I'm down at the Abner Clay Park Unity Day, and my friends in Facebook world, please log into the webinar so that you can chat with me, because I'm using my telephone for my Wi-Fi, because you see I'm parked outside someone's house and we have our booth and everything set up across the street. And this is, yes, indeed. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are on the that are in the webinar, like Ms. Gilliam, she can make comments to me directly, and that's what I was reading, and she was asking me and then one person, like, see, the interesting thing is that one person saying that they have no sound, but then I know that there's sound because another person is communicating with me back and forth. But I hope you still have sound. Please let me know if your sound comes back. And then, so let me start from the top, because I'm waiting for, one of our panelists, because the technology, I know there's probably, actually I'm waiting for two. So I'm gonna continue to focus and then get back. Before I get started on Let's Talk Business, I want to remind you that I'm in Virginia at Abner Clay Park in the city of Richmond. Now, all you have to do is put in your Google Abner Clay Park, and then you will definitely come right here. They're giving out to the community. My contribution was to bring all of the water that I could possibly fit into a vehicle. So I did that part. And then there's people that have brought food. They're handing out food. They have clothes. They're giving out clothes to the community. This most of you on my Facebook wall, are doing extremely well. And this is an opportunity for us all to show everyone else, so many young people that are here today, show these young people how you did it, how they can do it, how we're going to promote and encourage and inspire and educate one another. I have them signing up for the email list so that they can get my free weekly updates. So definitely, I'm glad the sound is back. That definitely, this is a great opportunity to check out Unity Day at Abner Clay Park. Let's talk about financial planning and why it is so vital for your business. Now, if you have a business or you're thinking about starting a business, either way, because you think about it a lot, like when you're at the beginning of your business, that, I need to, have my finances in order and make sure that I divide, like we talked about last week, of making sure that your personal finances are definitely separated from your business finances. We got that down. But why is it important? Why is that important? So my first thing that I want to make sure that I share, and I have 10 ideas I want to share with you, and then I'll let you go. And then please ask me any questions that you have in the chat and and if you make comments on Facebook, and I promise I will go back and respond to your comments or your questions. So our first point is that having a financial plan, having a plan for every year, having a plan before you start, just having a plan increases the chances of your success. It increases your success. I'm going to close this because I think that this is going to help. So it increases your chances of success when you actually know where you're going, why you're doing what you're doing, and how you're going to get it done. So businesses, when you look at it statistically, businesses that have gone out of business, it's been businesses that actually did not have a plan. They didn't have a plan, so they didn't realize that the cash flow was running low. They didn't see that their sales were going down. They didn't see that things weren't going in the fashion financially that they needed them to go. And then the second point is to having your financial planning is so that you can have everyday budgeting as a big part of your business. Everyday budgeting is vital for your business. Having a budget in place that you can look at each day, and saying, oh no, I can't spend that. And I know Ms. Thompson, that having a plan, even personally, we know that if you say I'm only going to spend $20 a day, then you will spend $20 a day. But if you go into the day, or even if you go into the mall, or if you go into any experience without setting up a budget for even your daily expenses, then your likelihood of not doing that or overspending are drastically increased. You go in the mall and you go, I'm only going to buy one black dress. Then, and you set that up as a rule for that visit, your likelihood of only buying that one black dress is fine. But if you are I like to visit the mall type of person, then that becomes, a huge problem. So you go in there and you just buy a black dress and some black shoes and a black scarf and and everything else and a red sweater. And so make sure for your business that you bring that same principle to your business. If you say that this is what my daily operating expenses are going to be, well, first you have to figure out what daily operating expenses are. So if you say, or if you're projecting, or if you've been in business, it's easier because you can look at last year. This is what I made. This is what my expenses were, and if I break it down to the month, break it down to the week, break it down to the day. You can break it down. You can even break it down to the hour if you wanted to, but you really can. And I know that I know what I need to be generating basically every hour in order to take care of the financial responsibilities that I have. And I think that we all should, even personally and on a business, know how much your time is worth. And I think that we would waste our time more wisely. One time I saw someone posted on Facebook and said that waste your time. We all waste our time, but waste your time wisely. And it's so true. Well, first we have to know how much our time is worth. So then a second point is to let's see if we can get Bruce Richardson in, Bruce, we see. There you go, Mr. Richardson. There you go. So then a second point is going to be, and I'm not sure, I think next to them, I know you only see you and you only see me, but everybody at home or Facebook world, I think they can see us side to side. Look, so I'm going to try. There we go. Now I have gallery view at least for myself, which I'll let me know if you can't see both of us. But Mr. Pearson, I was talking about the reason that as business owners, we have to have a financial plan for the business as well as for ourselves. And so a third point is your future depends on it. Your future depends on your ability to organize your finances. And I'm going to try to, I'm going to unmute. Okay. And now the reason that it's important to have someone like Mr. Richardson in, who is a big part of what a lot of business owners want to do, is to buy a property either for the business, either for they want to buy commercial property, or they want to buy residential property, or they want to buy an investment property. Is that true, Mr. Richardson?
That's correct.
So I believe, and you can tell me if this is true, that I have to make sure that the business members of Afro Economics have their finances correct, because they need to be able to come to you as a real estate expert, and you can tell them, what we need to be looking at, what type of money they have, and it'll also give them an understanding of, when they're going to a lender, what the lender is looking at, and why a good understanding of your balance sheet, is vital, so that then when you can say, okay, well, you're ready to purchase this property, or when you're going to a lender and trying to fight for them, you can say, oh, no, okay, they have all their finances in order. They have their balance sheet, they have their income statement. Is this true?
It's very true. JB, one of the areas where purchasing a business or a business location for that purpose of doing business is totally different than purchasing a residence for shelter. It is
Okay.
two different dynamics, and those dynamics, you're basing a lot of what you've referenced, profit and loss statements. You're basing also, when you go and buy a commercial business, you're basing it based upon different means of access. So when I talk about that, in many instances, we look at commercial business and we may look at the purchase of that facility on
Okay.
a 60-month term, or in some
Mm.
instances, a 120-month term. And
Okay.
you have to be able to project out that first and foremost, you're going to be viable for 5 years, or greater still, viable for 10 years. And you also want to have a clear indication that your business is going to bring in a clientele or income that will afford that property.
Exactly. And if we don't have our financial statements or our financial house in order, for the business and for you personally, then you can't even, we shouldn't even be trying to play in that game,
Yes, sir.
and I see a lot of people now. There were they at this Abner Clay Park event today, one of the organizers asked me, can you talk about people getting together and purchasing properties and things together as a group? Are you approached a lot like by that, Bruce?
We often will hear those concerns, but more importantly, we try to share that message. I think
Yes.
a collectiveness in how we do business is very much the direction that we need to go. And I'm, at one time, JB, and I hate to harp on this, but where you are today, down in Abner Clay Park, that area was part of what's known as the Black Wall Street in Richmond Hill.
Oh, wow. I
And,
didn't even know that.
yeah, and so prior
It's
to
still
the
beautiful down here. It is
and,
beautiful.
and prior to the what separated that area, JB, was the development of I-95. So I-95 cut directly through areas. I know
Mm,
you're very much aware of Mr. Lambert, but Benjamin Lambert and he was an eye doctor.
yeah.
And there were several other businesses along that area, in the
Okay.
Jackson Ward area, that were African American owned. And
Okay.
you look at the old Consolidated Bank, Maggie, the unveiling of Maggie Lane
Yes.
Walker's statue yesterday. All that area was a hub for
Yes.
Black business opportunities. So that what you're suggesting and what you're discussing today has to be done similar to what you see out west in the Silicon Valley area, where
Okay.
we have to collectively bring together our resources in order to purchase some of these properties. And some of these properties, JB, are in very attractive areas. The city of Richmond, for example, has a location downstairs where if we could bring in an incubator of businesses, it could be very, very viable because of what's coming to the city of Richmond. City of
Yes.
Richmond has established its hub as a small brewery town.
Yeah.
And you merge that with the fact of the growing Virginia Commonwealth University down there. So you have a lot of opportunities where you can attract a skill set because of its access to some of the local brewers, and then
Hmm.
what potential the VCU offers as far as the education and the access to education.
Yeah. And so I'm going to definitely continue to use Afroeconomics, and I'm glad that you're a member of Afroeconomics, so that we can that I can be helping people come up with these ideas, and then they can have someone like you that can help them take the next step. Like a lot of times you hear people who talk about, they're teaching people about the stock market and this and that, but they're not an investment advisor. And I always tell them, like, why don't you work with someone like me who can help them take the next step? It's
So
like,
true. So
it's
true.
like
So
we're
true.
gonna sit here and talk about buying stocks, but they can't buy it till they talk with somebody. So why can't it be me? So I want it to be you. It has to, and that we're going to continue to have these conversations. And I'm glad. Thank you for sharing with us today. I'm gonna go on with another point that would go along with what you just said, that we have to have our financial plan for banks and investors. They're going to want to see it, right? The banks are going to want to see the financial statements or everything. I know that Bruce will agree. For marketing plans, if you want to build your business, even if it's your real estate company, I know, would you agree, Mr. Richardson? You have to have a plan for all the advertising that you do as a business owner.
Very true.
Correct? You know, you have to have a plan. You have to make an investment. Even being in Afroeconomics is part of your marketing plan. I'm making it so. You know what I mean? Every dime that we spend, it should be with someone. When we're spending money, it should be with something that is benefiting us. You know, that is on your team. You should be building everything that you spend should be an investment. If you know, and too often we do business because we have to, unfortunately, with people who are not going to, you know, don't have to, because they have so many more options than us, that they don't have to do business with us. But I know, Mr. Richardson, you know what I mean? It's important for us to educate our community on how important it is to at least consider doing business with people that look like you. At least give us an option, give us a chance, because we're committing our life to serving us. And then a sixth point of why we have to have a financial plan is because if we don't have these things written out, if we don't have them in place, then we don't know, we can't identify when things might be going down. I see Mr. Davies out in Alabama. I'm going to bring you in. He has his own management company. And I can't see your face, Mr. Davies, but I don't know but I hope that you can hear us. Can you say something? How you doing, Jabril? Yeah. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Thank you for your time today. Were you hearing our discussion? I was talking with the real estate professional, and I know that you have a lot of investments and growth of your business. I think you had a question. You have a question for me?
Yes, ma'am. What I wanted to know is, as a startup, how do we professionally approach a wealth management company? Will we offer equity, or will we try to come up with a limited partnership agreement?
Yeah, and that's extremely good. A lot about what we were just talking about, because if we're going to start pooling money together, is one option. As you're saying, that when we come up with our business idea, how do we approach venture capital companies or wealth management companies? They go by all these different names. How do you approach them, potential investors? And Mr. Davies, I must tell you, having your financial documents in order, having these things together that I'm proposing to you that we should do, you know what I mean, will definitely allow investors to see that you're well organized, because just because you look good doesn't tell them enough, you know, because we've always been programmed on presentation. You know, as long as like we look successful, like we look like we got money, then that's going to work. But it doesn't work when it comes to real investors with real money and trying to take your dream to the next level. You know, because in many cases, if you don't have an Apple computer, you don't have a product, you don't have, you know, this something that's easy to sell. When we're talking about just a concept, you know, so when we're talking about just a concept and potential, but I'll tell you, if you had an act that was like, you know, because you're in management, an entertainment management company, if it would be easy as soon as you have the perfect act that everybody wants to buy into, it'll be easy to get investors to get involved in your management company, because it's like, yeah, I got this. But at that point, you really don't need them, you know? So it's about when it's just a thought and you're talking about your skill and what makes your management profile better than other entertainment management companies. And it's going to have to be, you know, presentation of your numbers as well as your concept. And it all has to go together. So, you know, that this definitely, your question brings home the point that we have to have our financial documents in order.
Hey, JB,
yes, please.
Can I add something, JB? And I'll say one of the big pieces that we're seeing, even in the Richmond, Virginia, especially in the Northern Virginia area where I work also, is intellectual property. So if you have an idea that you're positioning to introduce to a market, and you've patented or you've trademarked that idea, it's considered intellectual property. And
Mm-hmm.
intellectual property is the way business is being done nowadays. Apple, the growth in Apple stock, the growth in Microsoft stock, and any of these quick growing IT companies, their growth is coming through their intellectual property rights. And that's a huge part of how we're getting business done nowadays.
Yep.
So go ahead, JB.
Yep, that's a very good point. Because last week I was talking about ways to increase the value of your business, and one of them was on patents, and having royalties, and just having properties that aren't tangible, increasing our intangible properties. And that's a lot of what your business is, Mr. Davies. It is really the intangible. And what I, as an investment advisor, I sell the intangible. Mr. Richardson sells real estate. He has a tangible, but he also has to work with the intangible because he has to open up people's desire. That's an intangible, but like that it is on creating something, making something that's intangible into a tangible. And that's why our numbers have to be because that's why our numbers have to be so tight when you're talking about it intangible, intellectual property that, so definitely that. Thank you. Very good point from both of you. And then also before you all leave me, I want that we have to have these financial plans because we want to measure our progress. We want to make sure that we have a financial plan in order because we want to prioritize our spending. When you want to see financial documents will help you, Mr. Davies, Mr. Richardson, and myself. Our financial documents help us see which products or which service or which intellectual property is bringing in the most. Where are the sales trends? Where's the most, is the most of my income coming from real estate properties, or is it residential? Is most of my income coming from insurance products or my investment portfolios, or is it from membership? You have to see, is mine coming from rock singers, rap star artists, or, or live bands? Where's my income, coming from the financial statements? And so when you have a bookkeeper, if you hire somebody, they have to break it down. That's why we can't just turn stuff over to people. It just disappoints me with what Mayweather is going through, because I'm like, that is crazy. I can't even imagine one of my members of Afro Economics, which, I mean, when he has all these millions surrounded by these professionals and they're going to allow him to be in that position. It's disappointing. Who is he surrounded by? We got to be very careful who we have on our team. He shouldn't even be entertaining the conversation about the IRS. He shouldn't even be in that. When people call him, he should say, I don't know my accountant, or JB Bryant handles that, or, whatever. He shouldn't be in that, but that just shows he is not serviced correctly. And whoever he has around him, he doesn't trust. And then that's sad. So we have to know that. And my final point is that we have to develop a better understanding of what our bottom line is. What is a profitable company and what's not a profitable company? What is the bank looking at when we go in there? Because all the time I've seen in our Black communities, they'll give out awards to our businesses just based on sales. So they'll say they sold $20 million in government contracts, but that doesn't mean they made any profit at all. Where your financial statements and what we work on in Afro Economics is profitability, sustainability, you know what I mean? And having something, intellectual, as you said, being forward thinking about the next step, and constantly educating ourselves. Y'all got anything to share before we go? Please give a commercial. Mr. Richardson, you give your commercial, and then Jabril, will you give your commercial? Go ahead, Bruce.
So in closing, I will say, JB, you're spot on what you're saying. And let me just say, our elevator pitch is a very simple elevator pitch. We have a goal of trying to increase home ownership, and home ownership leads. It's a basic financial building block. So our elevator pitch is just that. If you are in a situation from the standpoint where you've been told or you've been encouraged to look at rental as an option, we say home ownership can also be a viable option.
There
From
you
a
go.
business standpoint, though, we work with a lot of investors who pick up properties, real estate at discount, and we help them, we assist them in also making those properties very profitable in turnover. Last but not least, the most important thing that I think that we do is we educate. And
Yes.
we educate in a means in which, if today is not the horizon in which you should purchase, we try to put you on a track in which we can achieve that opportunity to purchase. So very, very basic. It's all around real estate. We hope to continue to grow our company. We also have clear means of utilization of social media to get our message out. So we try to utilize social media, Twitter, Facebook, and those type of means to get our message out. But in a nutshell, and I say all this to sort of close with this, JB, you're spot on in offering these opportunities to our communities. And what we really need to understand is home ownership becomes that foundation, that building block for financial wherewithal. And we are trying to be that driving force to help the African American community pursue home ownership.
Funny thing though, thank you. You know, it's amazing that the SBA loans, when you're building your business, and a lot of people want to do the government loans, the only thing that they seem to respect is home equity. It's amazing. So, you know, business owners got to live somewhere too, you know, so we have to spend some time figuring out like what do we need to do to make sure that our income is counted, and how to be approved for things other than cars. Like they always want to give us cars all the time, you know, but if you can pay a car payment, we can pay a house payment. So, you know, you're watching this, you're in the right place. It's about just reach out to Bruce and ask him, reach out to me and ask for Bruce's information. I'll get you connected to him. But what's your email, Bruce?
I have a couple of emails, but the most direct email to get my team is team, TEAM, Be Rich, team Be Rich S1 at gmail.com. So that's team as a football team, Be Rich S1 at gmail.com.
And so, Mr. Davies, tell me about the Olympus Group, because I know that I've been communicating with you for a couple of years. So you say that this is new, but it's not new. You've been working on this for a while. So tell me about your Olympus Group. Tell everybody.
The Olympus Group, we're a company. We have many services. Entertainment, obviously, is one of our biggest focal points right now, being in the Birmingham area. But we're trying to grow the entrepreneurial ecosystem in our communities. There are a lot of people who may or may not know how to access this information. So what we're doing is aligning ourselves with different networks and making these opportunities possible in our community. Because down here in Birmingham, Alabama, there are a lot of people who want to do things, but they just don't know how to go about doing it. So that's what we step in, and we try to help them with the process.
And I know we got the Black Wall Street coming up soon, right?
Yes, ma'am. October 29th is the target date. It'll be the weekend of the Magic City Classic, so it'll be a lot of people in town.
That's so powerful, so powerful. You can do this. You can do this. You know, I just think it's wonderful. And I thank God that you're a part of Afro Economics. I really wish the whole world could see you two positive brothers out there taking care of your families, taking care of your responsibilities, and building your businesses. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless you all. And thank you all to all the panelists. I'm JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm and the home of Afro Economics. God bless y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.